The votes are in. They don't want your pity. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them. Black people, they're just like us.
All right, buckle up, because Bill Maher just did what so many on the left still can't bring themselves to do: drop the damn truth. And not just the polite, sugar-coated version. No, this was the kind of truth that smacks you in the face like a cold shower after 3 tequila shots. Raw, jarring, impossible to ignore. And the target? Kamala Harris, the Democrats, and the ticking time bomb of contradictions known as the woke agenda. You know the drill. Identity politics on repeat, excuses stacked higher than inflation, and the ever-reliable blame Trump button that gets slammed like it's the only track on the jukebox. If you're sick of that tired playlist, then yeah, this segment is definitely for you. But before we dive in, quick reminder, hit like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell, because this is where unfiltered political commentary lives. The kind that'll either have you nodding in agreement like, finally, someone said it, or hurling your phone across the room in frustration. Either way, you won't be bored. So, here's the setup. Bill Maher didn't just criticize Kamala Harris, he went full savage. The man pulled 0 punches. At times, you'd swear he was auditioning for a primetime slot on Fox News with how brutally honest he was being. But here's the thing, it needed to be said. Maher and his guest tore into Harris for her baffling, almost surreal responses, or lack of them, on 2 of the biggest crises we face: immigration and inflation. The border's wide open. Prices are skyrocketing. And what does Kamala do? Shrugs. Says she wouldn't change a thing. I can't think of anything I'd do differently. Seriously? That's the line. That's the leadership. Like, what?
The big issue, right?
Right.
Was immigration. And
inflation, immigration.
Those 2 are very big issues. And you asked Vice President Harris,
Right.
why did you let all these people in for the last 4 years? She did not have an answer. I still don't know the answer. They actually could, with an executive order, shut it down as they did earlier this year. So why did they not do it 3 years earlier? And I think people felt she did not respond to that in any way. She had no answer on inflation, and she also seemed to represent that whole woke zone that people are sick to death of. And I think those 3...
Picture this. Your house is engulfed in flames. Sirens are blaring, smoke's choking the air, and when someone asks what you'd change about your fire prevention strategy, you shrug and say, nothing really. That's not just clueless, it's reckless. And that right there is the level of detachment we're dealing with. And don't think for a second we're skipping the other elephant in the room, the woke problem. Because Maher didn't just casually point out, people are tired of wokeness. No, he lit up the stage like a Vegas marquee flashing. Stop being insane. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Americans are exhausted. They've had it with endless virtue signaling, with safe spaces multiplying like Starbucks on every corner, with the ever-expanding list of 39+ genders, and the family-canceling culture of cut off your uncle if he dared vote for Trump. That's not reality. Real people don't live like that. They're juggling bills. They're raising kids. They're figuring out how to keep the lights on, not how to pass the latest ideological purity test. And Maher's warning couldn't have been clearer. Woke politics isn't just irritating, it's radioactive. It's costing elections. It's pushing away the very working class, common sense Americans Democrats used to stand shoulder to shoulder with. Yet somehow, large swaths of the left still refuse to see it.
The first 2, because immigration, as I said, well, inflation was something. The Biden-Harris administration, they wrestled with that through the supply chain, through trying to lower the cost, making sure that people could afford their groceries and their gas. But still, childcare became a big issue, housing, the cost of housing. So while I do believe that they've made significant gains, there's no question immigration became an issue. But I'm not going to get into this, oh, the people are too damn woke. That wasn't an issue. What happened?
Yeah, it was.
I disagree with you.
I know, I'm not...
Take Donna Brazile, for example. She jumped in with that same tired, dusty defense we've all heard before. It's not wokeness, it's the messaging. Really? That's the hill we're climbing? Because, ma'am, the messaging is the problem. When you're standing knee-deep in political rubble insisting the sky is perfectly intact, you're not just out of touch, you're part of the demolition crew that caused the collapse in the first place. And Maher? He wasn't buying it. He didn't just push back, he dismantled her argument like a wrecking ball through cardboard. Brutal, unapologetic, and painfully accurate. That's why the left keeps bleeding support. Because while they're busy spinning excuses, voters are watching the walls crumble. Now, let's pivot to Joe Biden for a second. Democrats tried to sell us this fantasy that an 82-year-old man was sharp, spry, and totally fit to steer the country through another term. Come on. Everyone knows that's a fairy tale. The mask slipped ages ago. Just watch that infamous happy birthday speech. It didn't inspire confidence. It made you want to cover your eyes, curl into a ball, and ask, what timeline are we trapped in? If that's totally fine, then hand me the crown, because apparently I'm the Queen of England.
Trust a party that was telling us with a straight face that Joe Biden could be president for 4 more years without any problem whatsoever. That's what the Democrats were telling us. It was a massive lie. We saw through it. Everyone saw through it.
Did you see him this week? Could you imagine if we were just starting on the next term? That was
First of all,
Wandered
happy
off into the
birthday, Joe
Brazilian
Biden.
rainforest.
Happy birthday. Joe Biden turned 82 this week. And Bill, I hope you're still kicking ass at 82.
And here's the kicker, if they were willing to lie so boldly about Biden's mental sharpness, what else have they been lying about? Hunter's laptop? The border crisis? The so-called booming economy? At this point, it's not a leap, it's a logical assumption that the list is long. Because let's be honest, if you're that brazen in front of cameras, imagine what's happening when the doors close and the microphones are off. Even their loyal media allies eventually ran out of spin. Gas prices climbed so high you'd think you needed a cosigner just to fill your tank. A carton of eggs started feeling like a luxury item reserved for the wealthy. Rent? Don't even start. And yet, while everyday Americans felt their wallets being gutted, the left kept peddling the same narrative. The economy is strong. Things are better than ever. To the average family struggling at the checkout line, that wasn't optimism, it was mockery. And when reality doesn't fit their script, they don't adjust, they gaslight. They point at Trump. They rewrite history like they're the authors, and we're the illiterate masses. But people aren't buying it anymore. Then came the surreal twist, a Yale psychiatric resident on MSNBC earnestly urging viewers to cut ties with Trump-voting family members during the holidays. Yes, really, skip the turkey, skip forgiveness, embrace division.
The chief psychiatric resident at Yale University, Amanda Calhoun, recently told Joy Reid it's okay to cut off family members if they voted for Trump and tell them, I'm not going to be around you this holiday. Oh, how pure. It's like not letting certain people sit with you on the bus. She also said that it shouldn't be automatic that family members think they're entitled to your time. She said that's just a societal norm. Family. Who do they think they are? Family? I mean, think about that. A mental health professional advising people to isolate during the holidays. And don't forget to drink too much and put on weight.
Just picture it. You're at Thanksgiving, carving into the turkey, passing the mashed potatoes, when suddenly you turn to grandma and say, hey, thanks for raising me, but because of how you voted in 2020, you're dead to me. Really? What planet do these people live on? This isn't political discourse anymore. It's fanaticism dressed up as morality. When casting a ballot for a different candidate becomes grounds for excommunicating your own blood, you've crossed from disagreement into delusion. That's not democracy, it's a cult mindset. And Maher, in his trademark style, cuts through the madness with that razor-sharp sarcasm. Before the big meal, don't forget to go around the table and share what you're hateful about. It's hilarious, sure, but it's also unsettling. Because the joke works only when there's a little too much truth hiding inside it.
And this Thanksgiving, before the big meal, remember to take turns saying what you're hateful about. You know who I really wouldn't want to have Thanksgiving dinner with? this overly educated, i.e. extremely stupid, ivory tower academic. But I would, because if we ever want this nation to heal, this is what we have to do. Force ourselves to reach out and find out why someone feels the way they do and make the choices they make without prejudging them a monster.
But here's the real kicker, and it's something Maher said that actually cuts deeper than the rest. If this country ever wants to heal, we've got to relearn a lost art, sitting down with people we disagree with. Not to debate them like we're on cable news, not to score points or own the other side, but to simply listen. To understand why they think the way they do. To reconnect as human beings before politics turned into a full-contact blood sport. Sounds basic, right? But that's how far gone we are. Civil dialogue has flatlined. Debate isn't encouraged, it's cancelled. What we have instead are echo chambers stacked on top of echo chambers, where the same voices bounce back until people forget there's another side at all. And here's why Maher's frustration hits different. He's not a conservative pundit taking shots from the outside. He's a lifelong liberal. He wants Democrats to succeed. He cares about democracy, about the environment, about the issues they claim to champion. But even he's had enough of defending what has devolved into a clown show. His words were blunt, unfiltered. You blew it. And honestly, he's right. Arrogance has replaced strategy, and exclusion has replaced persuasion.
I spent 100 days telling voters, I know it feels like crime and illegal immigration are bad, but fuck your feelings. Look at this chart. Yes, there's a lot to not like already about the new regime, but maybe take 1 week to ask what you did wrong. The basis for Democratic campaigns has become, we're the smart people. That we know from the get-go. No need to look into that. We know that a priori, which is a Latin phrase the red hat people wouldn't have a clue about.
And here's the truth. Voters can smell condescension like smoke in a room. They don't want politicians who perch above them, wagging their fingers, acting like ordinary people are too simple to get it. They want leaders who show up, roll up their sleeves, and actually serve. That's why Trump, despite every flaw and every headline, broke through. He spoke in plain, blunt English. He hammered on jobs, security, borders, the things that actually touch people's lives. And most importantly, he didn't talk at Americans like they were a lecture hall. He talked to them like they were neighbors at the diner counter. That's leadership, even if it comes wrapped in midnight Twitter storms and sound bites sharp enough to split granite. And the numbers back it up. For someone constantly branded unelectable, Trump improved across nearly every demographic. Exit polls showed he captured 52% of white women, a stat that shocked the same pundits who swore he was political kryptonite. Now, let's talk about Kamala. This isn't personal, it's political. Her campaign was chaos from start to finish. Public appearances often veered into cringe territory. And those infamous word salads? It was like watching someone compete in an Olympic event for saying the most words without delivering a single clear answer. Here's the reality. It's not enough to be a symbol. You have to stand for something. If all you bring is identity and vibes, you're destined to lose. Because Americans are done being scolded. They're done being told they're racist, sexist, or phobic just for having a different opinion. What they want is simple. Jobs that pay, groceries that don't bankrupt them, neighborhoods that feel safe, and leaders with actual backbone. And Maher's final punchline? Wokeness shouldn't just be mocked, it should be cancelable. Not out of spite, but out of survival.
Try making too woke be a cancelable offense. It's important for America to have a center-left party, and for that party to be competitive. And a good first step toward that goal would be to make the voters not want to punch you in the face. I will conclude by saying the reason I'm so mad at the Democrats is because as a voter, the issues that were important to me were democracy and the environment. And now, there's no one to champion or defend either of them because you, with your aggressively anti-common sense agenda and shitty exclusionary attitude, blew it. You lost everything.
If we actually want to preserve democracy, protect our culture, and hold on to even a shred of common sense, then this ideology has to be ripped out by the roots. No trimming the edges, no gentle pruning gone. And step 1? Stop electing the politicians who keep peddling it like snake oil. Period. Because the message from voters couldn't be clearer. Symbolism doesn't win elections anymore. Speeches about firsts and historic moments might get applause on cable news, but they don't pay the rent. Competence does. Results do. Americans are voting with their wallets, their safety, and their sanity in mind, and anyone ignoring that reality is going to keep getting steamrolled at the polls. If the left wants to remain relevant, they've got exactly 2 options: evolve or step aside. Keep betting everything on the woke horse, and they'll keep losing the race. And here's the truth: no matter your skin color, tax bracket, or zip code, we're all facing the same frustrations. We want lower prices at the store. We want cops to show up when we dial 911. We want jobs that actually cover the bills. And we want a future for our kids that feels like hope, not a dystopian sci-fi trailer.
The votes are in. They don't want your pity. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them. Black people, they're just like us.
It's really not that complicated, and Maher nailed it. Black people, like everyone else, don't want your pity or your performative guilt. They want real solutions. They want leaders who focus on results, not hashtags. Because let's be honest, no community is asking for another lecture on privilege when rent is due, groceries cost a fortune, and safety feels uncertain. So if you're still clinging to the fantasy that the woke left is the unstoppable future of politics, it might be time to let that dream go. The votes are in, and the verdict is loud and clear. People don't want more identity politics dressed up as progress. They don't want empty virtue signals or politicians chasing Twitter applause. What they do want is far more practical: sanity, stability, and measurable change. They want jobs that pay, streets that feel safe, and policies that actually improve their lives. And here's the hard truth: if Democrats can't deliver those basics, they're going to keep losing. Not just once, but over and over again, until they finally understand that results speak louder than rhetoric.